So what is the least of something, right? You're the one that's gonna be picking up horse doo-doo in the kingdom, right? You the one that's gonna be a ticket meter. That's what you're gonna be doing. Put tickets on cars, right? A dishwasher. You the one that's gonna be picking up trash on the side of the road because you are in a low position. You taught men how to break this law, so the Lord gonna put you in a lower position. Right? The Lord is gonna put you in a position you like, well, goddamn, how did I get here? Because you want to teach the law, it's done away with.
I done put my life on the line and I see. I don't think they understand me. No. Look me in my eyes, you can tell I'm a G. I know they don't understand me. No. I do it for my fam that's behind me, my team. And I hope you understand me. I ain't have a dollar, all I had was a dream. So I'ma make them understand me.
I came to teach you that the law is not done away with, which is your Christian pastor is not going to tell you.
That's right.
Your big mama not going to tell you not to eat that pork. Big mama not going to tell you not to eat that pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, right? She teaching you exactly what to do and how to go against the Bible, right? I'm coming to tell you that the law is not done away with, right? Can I get the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 17, right? And when you get it, read. So this in today's culture, right? We're not taught to how to follow after this Bible, right? If we go in the Christian church, right? All they doing is pass around the tithe bucket, put your money in the bucket. That's all they come here for, right? Close the doors, like as Marvin Sapp said. Close the doors. He just wants your money, right? Read.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 17. Think not that I come to destroy the law.
Think not. Don't even let this thought cross your mind. Right? Think not that I've come to what? To do what?
To destroy the law.
Right, to destroy, to put away the existence, right? The essence of the law, he's not coming to away. He's not coming to step on it, to throw it away, right? Read.
Or the prophets.
Or the prophets. The prophets of the Old Testament. Because your Christian pastor gonna tell you we in the New Testament, right? The Old Testament is done away with. But Christ said, he said what?
Think not that I come to destroy the law,
right?
Or the prophets. I have not come to destroy it, but to fulfill.
He did not come to destroy the law, but he came to fulfill the law. Show you the completion, the reality, to bring to existence, right? To show you the spirit of the law that it can be done, right? Christ taught you how to do the law, but your Christian pastor gonna tell you can't do it, right? You can't be perfect, but Christ said, be ye perfect. Read on.
Verse 18, for verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass.
Right, so truly I say unto you, till heaven, right, the sky and the clouds, the stars that you see in the sky when you look up, right, read.
One jot and one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law.
Shall in no wise pass from the law. At the dotting of an I and the crossing of a T, right? A small person or a big person. Just because the baby a baby, that don't mean he can eat pork. That don't mean because you're in a position of power. That don't mean you can eat shrimp, crab, and lobster, right? You teaching men to do that, right? But the law said not to do it. Christ said not to do it. Read on.
To all be fulfilled.
Till all be fulfilled, right? This law is still going to be here when Christ gets here.
That's right.
When the Lord cracked that sky and Christ come down with 200 million angels, the law is still going to be here because Christ is going to enforce it, right? Read.
19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments.
Whosoever shall break one of these least commandments, right? What is the least commandment? Not following after America's holidays, right? Not putting up that Christmas tree. Not following after Thanksgiving. It's America's holidays, America's society, right? One of these least commandments, you can stop eating pork. Right. You can stop celebrating Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving. Those things that you can stop, that's one of the smallest things that you can do, right? Read on.
And shall teach men so.
And shall teach men so, right? Your Christian pastor is teaching you how to celebrate Halloween in the church. But it's supposed to be a terrible day, right? You dressing up as ghouls and goblins, right? As devils. But Ain't the Christian church supposed to be against those wicked things? But it's teaching you how to celebrate Halloween. It's teaching you how to put up a Christmas tree in your front yard, in your houses, to put presents up under it. Right? Read on.
He shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
He shall be called the what?
The least in the kingdom of heaven.
The least in the kingdom of heaven. So what is the least of something, right? You're the one that's going to be picking up horse doo-doo in the kingdom, right? You the one that's going to be a ticket meter. That's what you're going to be doing, put tickets on cars, right? A dishwasher. You the one that's going to be picking up trash on the side of the road because you are in a low position. You taught men how to break this law, so the Lord going to put you in a lower position, right? The Lord is going to put you in a position you're like, well, goddamn, how did I get here? Because you want to teach the law, it's done away with. That's what you want to do, right? Read on.
But whosoever shall do and teach them.
Whosoever shall do and teach them, right? So you teaching men how not to eat pork. You teaching men not to unalive his brother because he wearing blue, red, or black, or green, right? You teaching men not to do that, right? Read.
The same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
Read.
Great in the kingdom of heaven.
The same shall be called great, right? You be in a position to hold power, right? You be called great in the kingdom of heaven, right? You be in a position of power where you got rulership over like 50, maybe 100 providences. Why? Because the Lord put you in a position of power, to be great, to be a ruler, authority. We don't know what that is in the black community because we never had it. We only had it when we followed after this Bible. In America, we don't know what that is because we've been stripped and raped and murdered for our transgressions against this Bible. And I'm here to tell you that, and no one apologizes for it. We still suffering today. We still getting unalive today, right? And nobody's doing a goddamn thing about it. That's why we out on this corner to tell blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that Christ is a black man, that the Most High is a black man, that the angels are black and they're here for you, right? And if you continue to keep these commandments, you be called what?
Great in the kingdom of heaven.
You be called great in the kingdom of heaven, right? If you keep these law, statutes, commandments, you be called great in the kingdom of heaven. And if I could, can I get the book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 17, right? When it comes to this Bible, you have to understand context and what this Bible is talking about. Christ didn't put away with the law. Your Christian pastor did, though. Your Christian pastor gonna tell you the law done away with, but he's still gonna pass around that tithe bucket. He gonna make sure he gonna get that money. As my brother say, he's a whore. He's an as my captain say, he's an exotic teacher. That's what he do, right? That he's only up there to shuck and jive to get your money, right? Read.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 17. And he said it to him, why callest thou me good?
And just so some context, right? As I said, Christians don't understand context. A brother came up to Christ and he said, he asked Christ, how does he get eternal life? And Christ said, why callest thou me good? Right here, Christ could have bigged himself up and said, look, just follow after me. Do what I say, right? Why callest thou me good, right?
There is none good but one.
There is none good but one. He answering this question very humbly. Christ could have bigged himself up, as I said. He said, there is none good but one.
That is God.
That is God. And that goes against all you Christians, right? That teach that Christ was born through the Father, which is the Most High, right? Yeah, it's through immaculate conception. So it's a goddamn lie. In totality, what you're teaching is that Christ is God, right? So Christ being God, he came down and impregnated Mary and birthed himself. You know how much of a conundrum that is? A contradiction that is? So Christ birthed himself through his mother. You know how disgusting that is? Right? That's Greek mythology. That's not what the Bible teaches. Moses, right? Joseph taught fire to Mary in order for Jesus to be born, right? Christ was born through the flesh. He was not a spirit. He didn't. The Most High didn't come down and impregnate Mary. It's impossible, right? He was a full man, just like me and you. He came on this earth to show you in the flesh and the blood that you can keep this law, that you can follow after the Lord. Why? Because the Lord told you to do it. Christ was a wonderful son. He was a great son. How about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian men, women, and child be great children to the Lord and follow after these laws, statutes, commandments? And that's a commandment, to have the Lord over everything that you do, follow after the Most High, right? And be a good brother, right, to your neighbors, right? And that's blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Read that from the top.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 17. He said it to him, "Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God."
Right, that is God. There is none good but one, and that is God. As I said, there's a difference between Christ and the Most High. The Most High is over above Christ, right? And Christ is here to show you that you can follow after the law, statutes, and commandments, right? To show us, show us, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, that we can follow after this law, statutes, and commandments.
I.S.U.P.K.
Learn how to follow after this Bible, and not after your Christian pastor, not after your big mama, not after your father that's teaching you how to eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. Why? Because it's a sin according to the Bible, right? Could you read that from the top? Book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 17.
God, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 17. And he said it to him, "Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God."
Right. The only one that is good, that is God, right? God gave the law, statutes, and commandments to Moses, which he passed down through generations till Christ got here to show you that this law can be fulfilled, right? The fulfillment means, let me get the definition of fulfill, means to bring to completion or reality, achieve or realize, right? That's what it means to fulfill, right? Referring back to the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 17. And if I could, brother, could you get the book of 1 John, chapter 2, verses 3? Salaki. Keep reading, Salaki.
"But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments."
Right, keep the commandments. That's how you enter into the kingdom of heaven, right? To enable to enter into the kingdom of heaven, right? You have to keep the commandments. You cannot eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster and go and be in the kingdom of heaven, right? You can't celebrate Christmas, Halloween, and Thanksgiving and Easter, but also just to reiterate what my brother said, bunnies don't lay eggs. So it's a total lie, right? You cannot do that and enter into the kingdom of heaven. You cannot be a part of America's military, his society, and be in the kingdom of heaven. Why? Because you do not follow after the law, statutes, and commandments that the Lord set forth for you in order to make it. Right? If I could, brother, could you get the book of 1 John, chapter 2, verses 3 through 5. Right? This Bible shows you daily life skills, right? It shows you how to live according to this Bible. It shows you how to navigate your life through America. Right? Read.
It's the book of 1 John, chapter 2, verse 3. "And hereby we do know that we know him."
Right. Hereby we do know that we know him. For everybody that say they know God, right? Big Mama say she know the Lord. Your pastor say he know the Lord, or she, right? Mike Todd, I tell you about a pastor I seen most recently, right? He say he know the Lord, but he in the church in a blouse, right? Mike Todd, he in the church in a blouse with a bodysuit with some bell bottoms. He know the Lord though, right? He know the Lord. Read on.
"If we keep his commandments."
It don't look like Mike Todd keeping the commandments if he in the church in a blouse, dressing like a woman. Right. Salaki. Coca. Dressing like a woman, right? He is not keeping the law. The Bible says put on a man's apparel, not a woman's. So like I'm paraphrasing, but it doesn't not say dress like a woman. A man is supposed to wear a man's clothing. A woman is supposed to wear women's clothing. America does not teach that. So that should automatically tell you that America does not trust in the Lord. They say in God we trust, right, on your dollar bill. They don't trust in the Lord. If they tell a man he can be a woman, and a woman she can be a man. That's an automatic, that's a cross out right there. That's it. Right? Read on.
Verse 4, he that saith, I know him. Verse 3, and hereby we do know him, know that we know him, if we keep his commandments.
Right, you know the Lord if you keep the commandments. This Bible says keep the commandments, but your pastor telling you not to keep the commandments because can't nobody keep the Big Ten, right? They say you can't even keep the Big Ten, but you can do everything through Christ.
Right.
You can do everything through Christ, but keep the commandments. So, somebody lying.
Right.
And as it said, you don't know the Lord if you don't keep His commandments. It says, hereby we do know that we know Him if we keep the commandments, right? Drop that, go to verse 4.
Verse 4, this is the book of 1 John chapter 2, verse 4. He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him.
Right. So what is that saying, right? If you don't keep these commandments, he that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, right? As the verse said above, it says to keep the commandments. But verse 4 is saying if you don't keep the commandments, then you're a liar, man. You don't know the law. You're not keeping the law. If he's telling you to smoke weed, right, to unalive your brother because he's standing on a different block as you, right? He's telling you to eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, but he ain't gonna do nothing but tell you to fill up his pockets when you go into the church, right? He's telling you to fill up his pockets, but he's not telling you to keep this law. Then he is a liar.
Right.
He is not telling you how to live according to this Bible. Christ taught us, but he's saying he's following after Christ. He said be like Christ, but you can't follow after the law. You telling the law done away with. Why tithes not done away with then?
Right.
Tithes is the law, right?
Right.
But the law done away with, but you still passing around that tithe bucket.
Right.
Somebody lying.
Right.
Your Christian pastor is a liar.
Right.
Big Mama's a liar. Your granddaddy, he a liar if he a Christian.
Right.
Why? Because he don't know this Bible. She don't know this Bible. Your pastor don't know this Bible. The prophetess don't know this Bible. But the men under the I.S.U.P.K, under Commander General YAHANNA know this Bible. From front to back. Right? And if you got any questions, come get a flyer. Come get some information from the real men of the Lord. Right? And if you want to, come try to prove us wrong. You know, if you prove us wrong, we'll pack up and leave right now. But that's something that you won't do. Why? Because you don't know this Bible. You was never taught it. Right? If I could you, verse 5. Verse 5.
This is the book of 1 John chapter 2, verse 5. But whoso keepeth his word, in him verily is the love of God perfected.
Right, so whoso, Salaki, read that from the top.
It's the book of 1 John chapter 2, verse 5. But whoso keepeth his word,
Whoso keepeth his word, meaning this words of this Bible, right? Read on.
in him verily is the love of God perfected.
Verily is the love of God perfected. So if you living by this Bible, understanding this word, right? And keeping these law, statutes, and commandments, which is the love of the Lord, right? Then you know the Lord, right? Then you know the love of God. Because the love of God is perfected, which is the love of God is keeping these commandments. Not unaliving your brother, right? Not whoring out your sisters. Not whoring yourselves out into America. Right? Because the Lord said come out of America. But yet we still in it. Yet we still getting unalived because we want to follow after America. Right? And the reason we do this is because of the oppressor, right? The oppressor has taught us how to be bastards, how to piss on the Bible. Right? He's taught us how to piss on Christ because Christ is the one that tell him he is the one that's doing wrong. But he want to be he want to be in a position of power, but don't know how to be in a position of power. He don't know what he's doing. He don't know how to lead a community, a people, a nation. Right? I'm here to tell you that your leaders have showed you how to defile this book, how to defile Christ, how to defile the Most High. Why? Because he is a liar. He don't know this truth. He don't know this Bible. Read that from the top, verse 5.
It's the book of 1 John chapter 2, verse 5. But whoso keepeth his word, in him verily is the love of God perfected. Hereby know we that we are in him.
Right, so with that being said, we know that we are with the Lord because we keep the commandments, so the Lord is with us.
Yeah, Babylon is falling. To rise no more. Babylon is falling. To rise no more. Falling, to rise no more. To rise no more. I'm taking a look in the streets. It's real every day what I see. We constantly searching for peace. My people just wanna be free. We tired of the cell blocks and the